G'day friends and welcome to another one of my videos. Now today we're doing a review on an AV streaming mixer, the Roland VR-1HD. Now I've had this guy for quite some time now and it's done some beautiful work for me. And now that everyone's trying to create content and put it online with all the things that are going on in the world, I thought it'd be a good time to review this. So if you want to find out if this device is a good one and what it can do for you, well then stick around. And welcome back. Now before we take the device to the streaming table and plug in all the peripherals, I want to have a chat to you about some of the hardware features that are built into this device, because there's some pretty powerful ones that I should tell you about. So let's have a look at this first. On the back we have 3 video inputs and they're HDMI. And the last one, the HDMI number 3, has a pass-through, so you can connect that straight to a monitor. And if you're an online gamer, you can get that video feed without any lag. So that's a pretty good feature. Now, right next to that, there's a USB memory that allows you to include things like files that you can use as backdrops, or you can use as intermission screens and things like that. And you can load them through that USB port. We also have a HDMI monitor. Now this will produce an image that you can put to a monitor, and as you are doing the settings or changing anything on the menus, that will display on this particular port. Now the last port is the mains port, and this is a clean HDMI. All the settings and changes that have been made on the device will then be output through the main without any interference from anything else. But the great thing about this device is why I got it in the first place, is that it does have a USB 3 output that allows you to send whatever you capture on this device straight to a PC using USB-C. And the good thing on top of that is that you can actually then use that image and the sound coming out of the USB as a webcam. So it treats it just like a webcam, only with, really high definition in sound and obviously video. Last thing on this side is the power. So let's have a look on the side of the device, which is quite good too. So this device offers 2 XLR combo jacks, so you can plug in mics. So one is in the front, mic 1, and then mic 2 is on the side. It does allow for phantom power, so you can turn phantom power on and off. But it also has a line in, so you can plug RCA jacks to bring in some sound from a different source. And then it has a line out that allows you to record the sound to a separate recording device. And last but not least, it has a 3.5mm headphone jack, so you can monitor the sound that you're recording and some of the modifications you're changing. So that was the inputs, which is pretty cool. Now, if you have a look at the device's panel, it's actually quite rich with a lot of buttons that do lots of different things. But let me first of all talk about the video side of things. So on the video side of things, which is this corner down here, it allows you to switch between input 1, input 2, and input 3. So what you do is you get a full screen view of that particular input. So if you've got 2 cameras and a laptop, or 2 cameras and an iPad, or a camera, a PC, or an iPad, you can actually control this right from this device. Now the cool thing about it, it also has a auto switcher, so if you turn this device on, you can program it to change the images depending on different things, whether it's follow sound, or if it just sequentially changes it every once in a while, depending on the settings that you've applied to that auto switcher. Now above that you have some scenes, so you can pre-program some scenes, and what I mean by that is you can do things like picture-in-picture, you can do split screen vertically and horizontally, you can do almost like 2 web podcasts videos side by side as well. That was a recent inclusion because there's been a recent firmware update that has improved a lot of things about the interface. And then obviously you can edit these scenes, so they're not hard-coded. You can move the picture-in-picture anywhere, you can fix the size. It's very, very powerful. Now on the top, you have an on-air button, which practically mutes the sound and the video before you go live, and then it brings it back on once you go online. It does have chroma key. Originally, the first version of the firmware did not allow it for green color. But they've made some great additions. So now you can have chroma key in green. So for those of you who want to use a back screen or want to overlay some graphics on top of your video image, you can do that very easily using that key. And then that is what sort of dictates the video side of it. On the left-hand side, we've got some audio mixer settings and we can actually change any of the settings in the sound via software. The software package is quite good, but you've got these really easy and handy level switches here that you can change whenever you like. Now, there's one for the mic 1, there's one for mic 2, and then the line in. So if one's coming in too hot, you can actually bring it down, and that's going to help you level out that sound. And the great thing about it is that you have full control of the output. So the sound that's coming out of the main from the HDMI in the back can be controlled through here. You can also control the output for your headphones to make sure you don't blow your ears out. But then also you can control the output of the USB stream. So if you want to boost your sound, if you say going live to YouTube or something like that, and people are finding it difficult to hear you, you can control that from there. Now, that is as far as the sound's concerned, but one of the things that I like to mention is that through the software, you can also control the sound that's coming in through the HDMI. So you have practically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sound inputs and 3 video inputs. And it's quite versatile because you can have sound sources coming from different inputs. And that is it as far as the inputs. It's a very strong build. It's like very strong aluminium all round, and it is a very, very compact device. So those are the inputs. Let's go and have a chat as we plug it in, and we'll actually film everything using this, and we'll take it through its paces. So let's check this out. Here we are, we're all wired up, and as you would expect, this is sort of the normal type of podcasting setup. The beauty about this device is the software, like I said before, is very powerful. Not only does it allow you to do the mixing, it does all the sort of configuration of the device, but it also lets you save configurations. So if you're going to use it for this scenario, you can save the settings and leave them on your PC, or leave them on the USB drive that's connected to this device. And then when you take it somewhere else and you modify the settings, you can actually save those settings as well and then bring them up whenever you need them. So I've got 3 inputs hooked up to this at this point in time. The first one is me, so I'm looking at the camera and you can see me. Input number 2 is I've got another camera pointing at this device, so you can see it's actually capturing the way that I've got it all set up, and that's input 2 right there. And then I've got input 3, which is connected to an iPad. And as you can see, one of the beautiful things about this particular device is that it allows you to have a worry-free connection. So it transcodes all the video inputs and sets them at a standard 1080p 60 frames per second. And so that means that you don't have to muck around with settings on your cameras or your laptops or your iPads. Whatever input is coming into the device will allow you to modify it. So let's go back to this scene again. Now I'm recording this straight into my Atomos device, and I will show you another scene which is me picture in picture. Now you can also program these picture-in-picture modes, and you can change them around. So now you've got me in the little side as opposed to me taking up most of the screen and showing you what I'm doing on the small picture-in-picture. Now, if we go back to this particular mode, as you can see, there are a lot of other buttons that we can use. Now, there are some that give you different views, and you can configure these. So if you don't like the way that the screen space is being distributed, then you can actually modify it using the menu keys. At the same time, you can actually combine any of the 3 input sources and slice them and dice them whichever way you want. And then if you want to do this type of podcast and you want to transmit 2 different incoming sources, you can do that as well. So let's cut over to this scene. As you can see, I've got my Rode mic connected to mic 1. And now you can have something like a gooseneck mic. If you want to manipulate or do the editing right in front of you as you record, you can do that. You don't need to do this. Obviously, this is a better quality mic. It's capturing, great sound, and that great sound is being transmitted in the output. So instead of relying on webcam mics or something that's not going to give you good quality, you can actually put whatever mic you want in this port. And there's another one if you want to have somebody else. So the great thing about this is that you can manipulate everything that's going to the outputs. And as you can see, you've got LEDs that tell you how good or weak the signal and voice is coming. And you can manipulate that using the mains volume. So now let's have a little bit of a play around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to the iPad and we're going to have a look at this. So as you can see, because the iPad is not producing true 1080p, you get those bars on each side, but there is nothing wrong with this image. It's actually doing all the good stuff. Now, the good thing about this too is that you can control the input that's coming in as far as voice is concerned. So this is... I don't know how to act, don't know how to... G'day friends and welcome to... So you can switch over at any time. So if you're doing a demonstration, if you're sort of showing some media, it'll actually play it live without any lag. So it's, pretty good quality from that perspective. You can do the same from a PC desktop. So just imagine the second camera was a PC desktop. You would be able to do the same thing. One of the good features that it has is that it has this follow voice video. So if you wanted to do a podcast style where you were doing an interview, just let's say like a Joe Rogan type of interview, you can have three cameras plugged in. You can have one pointing at you, one pointing at your talent, and then one, let's say, pointing at the room, and that allows you to switch between these cameras. Now, the great thing about switching between each camera is that there's software inside the Roland that listens to the mic, and when I stop speaking and then the talent starts speaking, it will automatically flip the video over to the talent, and then when no one's speaking, it goes to the third camera, which is the one that's looking at both of you at the same time. So if you imagine a podcast like a Joe Rogan one, that's exactly what it's doing automatically for you. So the minute I start talking a little bit louder, it'll cut over to me. But the great thing about it is that that's all controllable, and you can turn that off. If you had the luxury of having someone controlling this for you, you can then have someone switching the cameras manually. But if you're a solo type of podcaster, this will do all the hard work for you. And like I said, there are many other voice and sound features. So let's do the voice changer, which also gives me a bit of a laugh.
So this is it. Oh my God, there's the Jedi. Get him.
So if you want to do something like that, you can modify the way that sound effect works. At the same time, you've got the background music. So yeah, so if you want to sort of do that sort of intro, but you can load other sounds onto the USB and then load them onto the device. So if you have your own specific tune, you can do that as well. Now, obviously too, you've got some sound effects as well that work in the same way. And everything is, put in a different sort of color button. So that particular clap was number 3. As you can see, it's got a different color, and you can program that as well if you really wanted to. And then if you want to go full, like, voice, you can put the reverb, and it makes you sound like you're in a louder room, but I don't get to use that very often. So now all of this is being recorded onto my Adamus Ninja 5, and now that is one of the outputs. I've got another output, which is the monitor you can see on the top screen. Now that monitor allows me to see it bigger, make sure it's in focus, it's recording everything that I need to do, and it really helps when you need to do some modifications. All of this can be done as well in the software that Roland provides for free. It has a lot of interactive features to modify everything from the position of the PIP, or the picture-in-picture, anywhere on the screen, increase the sizes, but also work with the sound. So I'm using this Rode mic, and I'm using the settings that are preferable for my voice. So I modified that in the Roland without having to make any large changes in post-production. So I can almost record this and not really worry about having to do a lot of work in post-production. So it's actually doing it on the fly. And so this sort of brings me to the big topic is, how much does this cost? Now, it is an expensive device as far as capture cards and streaming devices are concerned. Now, the big competitor on the market today is the Blackmagic A10 Mini. Now, that's been on the market for a couple of months or a few months now. And that does a similar job to this, but it is not as robust and as powerful as this particular device. It has very similar features, and in a later date I would love to do some comparison between the Blackmagic and this particular device. I haven't had the chance to use the other one, but it is a lot more economical, and that brings me to the point. This device can range anything between $1,400 US dollars to $1,800 US dollars. In Australia, where I live, it's even more expensive than that. So I would categorize this particular device in more of a prosumer. And until I get a chance to test the Blackmagic and compare its abilities, I really, can't speak about the Blackmagic device. And what I want to tell you, though, is that if you're looking for something with a very reputable brand name that comes with great support, good software, this comes with all that included straight out of the box, which is pretty good. Now, obviously, the competition in this space is going to get really, really competitive now that a lot of more people are going to want to do this. So I can't wait to see some more of these devices coming your way. So if you want to do this for business, if you want to record your own podcasts or product reviews and things like that, and you need multiple cameras and you need to do it in as less takes as possible, well, this is a great solution. So I've been pretty happy. Now, when I did a review for this, originally, I never published it because there was a few things that I was quite dissatisfied with as far as software, as far as what it could do. Especially green screen was one of the things that I really wanted to do, but I couldn't. But there has been a very recent firmware that has caught up, and it's made this an even more powerful and interactive device than that it was originally. So I'm pretty content now. It's almost, made it on par with the Blackmagic A10 Mini, apart from the price. Now, that particular device is quite economical for what it does. And so, we'll see how this goes. Roland is doing themselves a big disfavor because they are not advertising this device as much as they should. It is quite a good compact device with a lot of powerful built-in features. And there you have it, friends, the Roland VR-1HD, a powerful and compact device that will do a lot of the hard work for you when you're doing AV streaming. So if you like this video, give me a like, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And until the next time, ciao for now.